In this episode, I'm going to be building a sugarcane farm to get paper and a creeper farm to get gunpowder. Basically, I want firework rockets for when I get elytra. I'm going to be doing something a bit different with my creeper farm, and that is using cats instead of redstone, which was challenging to say the least. First thing I did was to make some changes to the terrain around my base. I had this uneven area around the river/canal that I wanted to fix. Part of this was that I wanted more area around my base to build with, plus to line up the canal better. I plan on keeping this village, but just adding different farms or buildings around it. I fixed the walkways around my base to put stone brick, cracked stone brick, and mossy stone brick around the sides to give it more of a border. Plus I adjusted the path slightly. Now let's get started on the farms. The spot I'm going to be building the sugarcane farm is right here next to the melon and pumpkin farm. The idea is to build it connected to the melon and pumpkin farm and use the same style for the building, but instead use more of a light blue, turquoise blue kind of color for the outside. Depending on how it looks, I can keep connecting farms like this and use different colors each time. Here are the supplies for the farm, the usual stuff: sugarcane, rails, redstone components, minecarts, observers, dirt, cobblestone, and I think I will need some buckets of water. I feel like I'm missing a few things. I'll have to double check. This is the same farm I built previously. If you want a tutorial on how to build it, I'll have it in the description. However, I still need to grab some blocks for the outside of the building. I sheared some sheep. That sounded weird. Headed to the nether and rode a strider to find a warped forest. Everything looked the same. I got lost and ended up wandering around under the nether fortress. I eventually got so lost that I actually found a warped forest. All I needed was one block of warped nylium. Back to my base where I planted the warped nylium next to tons of netherrack I already have. Just applying bone meal to the netherrack next to warped nylium to get more warped nylium. I needed some stripped hyphae. I don't care if I'm saying it wrong, it is now said hyphae. Next, I built a 1-layer cactus farm. This was more for bone meal to grow more huge fungus, and I would need white dye for the gunpowder farm, at least for the concrete part in the gunpowder farm. This is probably one of the easiest farms to build in the game. Just have to place cactus on sand and put something, in this case fences, to break the cactus when it grows one block. The water streams carry the cactus into the hopper in the middle. I did also find some bees' nests around my base that were full of honey and harvested them with shears, and you just had to put a campfire underneath, otherwise those pesky bees will poison you. I honestly can't remember what my plan was with the honeycomb. I'm going to say maybe it was honeycomb blocks. Yeah, that was my idea. Then, after all of that, I built the sugarcane farm. I matched the melon and pumpkin farm with the sugarcane farm, making it the same size. You know, you gotta have symmetry. Usually with these farms, I try to look at different versions to see if there's a different way of doing it. Like for example with the slime farm, I made it a different way. However, after a while you realize, for example with the sugarcane farm, they all work the same way. It's more of a question of what specifically you want. With this one, the sugarcane grows and an observer will detect the growth and trigger pistons that break the top layer of the sugarcane into a water stream. The difference with this farm is there's only one observer on the row that triggers the pistons. You don't need an observer for every piston on the row. Second is there are iron bars that force the sugarcane to drop into the water stream. The reason I like this one is it's lossless farm, meaning the sugarcane won't drop in a spot where it will be lost, and you can build it at whatever size you want since it's repeatable, so you can make it as wide or as high as you want. I'll have a tutorial for it in the description. I believe it is designed by Tango Tech. Honestly, the farm part of this wasn't difficult. The tricky part was the collection system. I also wanted to make it fancy by using the same collection system to pick up all of the melon, pumpkin, and sugarcane all in the same area and then sort it out. In the interior, I just repeated what I already did with polished deep slate and stripped birch log floors, with the walls being spruce planks and stripped birch logs. Next was building the outer layer of the building. I kept the continuity of the bottom part with granite, brick, and polished granite around the entire building. I also wanted to keep this balcony at the front, but actually have stairs leading up to it, so it's not there for no reason. The upper level was made up of cyan, concrete, wool, warped, stripped, and hyphae, and warped blocks. Still trying to improve my building skills, so I'm trying to play around with the different blocks, although this was safe since I had done this exact build with a different color on the other side. Once this was complete, I fixed the roof as it was only one type of block, so I used different deep slate blocks to add more texture. It's weird how you think you're placing blocks randomly and realize you're unintentionally placing them in a pattern. I also switched from slabs to stairs for the roof, so there will be no mobs that can spawn on the roof now. Here is the finished result, at least from this view of the building. I only just built this farm, but it is producing sugarcane at a decent pace. It's basically in my base, so it will always be producing sugarcane. Let's go up the stairs and check out the balcony. From here you can actually see into the farm to see the sugarcane. You can't do that with the melon and pumpkin farm. I'm not sure what the purpose of that is, but at least it's easy to repair if there's a problem. And next is the creeper farm. Unfortunately, I hit a bit of a problem. There should be cats in my villager breeder. The requirements are that you need 5 claimed beds from villagers to spawn cats. I'm not sure what happened, but there's only 1 villager in my villager breeder. Plus, there isn't any in the tank here. This place should be overloaded with villagers. I have to get at least 1 more villager into the breeder to build a creeper farm. Of course, I transported one of the farmers from the villager trading hall. I put them into a boat. I did the old piston trick to get them as high up in the air as possible so I could row them into the villager breeder. This looks really ridiculous. Just me? Then connecting it to the villager breeder with stone blocks. Then rowing my boat into the villager breeder. Then you gotta disable the baby villager trap. I just need these villagers to breed. While I wait for them to breed some villagers, I need some raw cod or salmon for taming and breeding the cats. I'm doing something I haven't done in years, and that is AFK fishing. This design won't get you treasure catches, which are the more valuable items like mending books, but I just need fish to be able to tame the cats. After I got enough back to the villagers, it looks like there are now 3 and a baby villager. I want to speed this up, so I'm giving the villagers as much food as I can. I have extra food from leveling up the farmers in my villager trading hall. If one of these villagers ends up with too much, they will throw it to another villager. This is meant to turbocharge it, maybe not turbo, but just make it a lot quicker. Also for this, I need wool for the carpets. I'm setting up another pen for sheep. Just have to lure them back with wheat. It is a good thing that I am in a plains biome. It makes it really easy to get a lot of passive mobs to spawn around here. I just realized that I haven't crafted an ender chest yet, although I have all the items to craft it. I really need this because I don't have shulker boxes yet, and I need to transport a lot of supplies for this farm. For this, I need white wool. I don't need white wool, but I think that you can't dye any carpet except for white. I think that's the case. I hope that's true. Taking advantage of the gravel biome really close to my base for that concrete that I don't usually use, but hey, different blocks. You can't have concrete without a lot of sand, and I'm getting white concrete, so I need bone meal. I have a lot of emeralds. It is 4 pumpkin pies for 1 emerald from this farmer villager. In the composter, a pumpkin pie will produce a piece of bone meal. Essentially, I turned 1 emerald into 4 pieces of bone meal. I have the basic composter contraption that I like to use a lot, and just putting anything possible in the input chest to get bone meal. I'm going to need a lot of white dye for this. Here's all of the supplies. As you can see, I have cyan concrete and white concrete. I redid the whole water dealio to turn powder into concrete. I have white carpet. The second chest, I have white glass and glass. I'm not using glass, it's more that I can dye it white if I need it. Here are the birch trapdoors and polished andesite slabs. I think there is more, but this is not a redstone farm at all. It's powered by cats. Here is the spot where I'm building the creeper farm. As you can see by my inventory, I found a shipwreck on the way here with smithing templates. This is close to my slime farm, not super close, but in the same general vicinity. Of course, building a creeper farm on the ocean is ideal as it limits the area mobs can spawn, plus there aren't any biome specific mobs that can spawn. I've never worked with cats before in this type of banner. Cats are pretty unique as the creepers are afraid of them, so they will try to run away from them. What can I say about cats? Man. They're a mob. It was honestly exhausting dealing with them. It took me forever to tame the first one, and by that point, I was not in my base anymore. Luckily, the second cat was a lot easier to tame. Plus, once I had two, I could easily breed more. But man, cats. Taming mobs that run away from you is challenging, to put it lightly. Challenging to say the least. Challenging to say the most. Just challenging in general. Now to build a creeper farm. For the killing area, I use this funnel that I previously used for my gunpowder farm. I just find this very easy to use rather than the rail system in the tutorial for the cat gunpowder farm. I'll have both videos in the description. I call it the funnel because it funnels the creepers into the campfire, and there are hoppers underneath that will pick up the gunpowder. The platforms are 11 by 11 with no corners. To only have creepers spawn in this farm, you have to have trapdoors underneath the platforms to make the space less than too high so that zombies can't spawn. Plus, to get the spiders not to spawn, you can't have 3 by 3 wide areas, so random carpets are placed on the floor so that spiders can't spawn. The weird ring area around the sides is to keep the creepers from falling out of the farm, and also to have trapdoors attached. The creepers will think that they can walk on the trapdoors, but oh no, there isn't a place to walk and they fall down into the water. The creepers will walk away from cats in a 6-block radius. You'll have to have carpet in spots that you don't want mobs to spawn. The glass is there to keep the creepers from falling out of the farm. The idea of this type of creeper farm is to get the creepers to fall off of the platforms as quickly as they spawn, as where a redstone one, where they are pushed off with water, it takes a bit before they fall. This type of farm might be a tad bit more efficient. A tad. The real difficult part of this farm was getting the cats into it. I had to put blocks and rails to put the cats onto each level, so that meant I had to place them, and as soon as I did, I had to remove them and do the next one. There were a lot of random problems I had with the cats. The leads would break at random times, they would accidentally go into the nether portal. The biggest problem is that because the farm is on water, they would actually drown in the water if they fell in. The creeper farm wasn't bad to build, but the cat part of this was a giant headache. I wanted to try something different just to see how it would be to build a cat version of a creeper farm. If I had to build another gunpowder farm, I would not use cats. I would just use redstone. After that, I had to place an overhang to increase the darkness of the farm, not to mention placing the AFK platform about 120 blocks above the ocean, so probably around 180 blocks Y level. Once I finished the farm, I let the farm kind of run for a while to see how much gunpowder I could get and if there was any problems that needed to be fixed. I did notice that there was gunpowder in spots there shouldn't be. This ended up being an easy fix as I forgot to place some of the trapdoors that prevent creepers from being caught in that space. Here is the gunpowder I got from the farm. I believe I was AFK for about 30 minutes, and this should give me a lot of firework rockets. The next step was to head back to my base with the gunpowder and craft some firework rockets with the paper. Thanks for watching, and next episode, let's put these firework rockets to good use and go to the end and get some elytra.